We've gotten reminded lately. It's not permanent. Nothing in this world is. We've heard the beating of the drums of war. We've been reminded not even tomorrow is a guarantee. And that's hard because we as people tend to structure our lives around protecting ourselves, around creating the illusion that we have control, around perpetuating the myth that we're somehow masters of our futures. Yeah, we work for the future we want, and we should. We strive to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe, but we know that our efforts can come to naught. It can be as simple as a wrong split-second decision behind the wheel. It can be as complicated as world events. And knowing that can keep you up at night, wake you up at 3 a.m., make it hard to concentrate, or even let the kids out of your sight. And it's exactly the kind of thing that Jesus was staring in the face. One of the great arguments that Bible scholars have is, did Jesus know the end of the story? Did he know he would be resurrected in the sense that he was? Jesus believed in life after death. He knew that there would be a resurrection. That's pretty clear. But you can argue it both ways in the Scripture as to whether he understood that Friday was going to be followed so quickly with Sunday. Yes, Jesus said, "Tear down this temple, and I will restore it in 3 days." We believe he was referring to himself. But he also asked in the garden that the cup of the cross be taken from him. These are the bombs scholars throw at each other in these forays. But regardless of the answer to that, and I think it's pretty hard to know the answer for certain, Jesus knew life as he knew it was about to change. That even he, God's own Son, was stepping into death. Not even Jesus at this point was in control. So what does he do? He prays. And he says some remarkable things. "Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son so that the Son may glorify you." But then he goes a step further, and this is what grabs me. He turns to the disciples and he prays for them. And then he prays for all people who will come to Jesus because of them. Ding, ding, ding. Hey, that's us. And then he says, "May they also be in us, so that they may be one as we are one." Jesus does what Jesus does. Jesus prays as Jesus prays. Jesus lived as Jesus lived so that we might realize unity with God. Jesus points to a unity beyond the impermanence of this world. He points to a unity of permanence that holds us and loves us and that will not let us go, even if this world turns cruel and breaks our hearts, or breaks more than our hearts. Jesus points to a permanence, to a rock, and reminds us that we are one with the Creator and that nothing will separate us from that love. His prayer echoes the words of Psalm 46. "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Be still then, and know that I am God." Jesus takes the horror that's facing him. He takes it on, and he leans into the permanence that is God. And we know the end of the story. And Jesus says we know the end of the story for ourselves, too. The Bible is a book that says many things in many ways. But I believe that taken as a whole, as Walter Brueggemann would say, the Bible shows us God is faithful. God has not chosen to control the world. God has not chosen to control us, but God has not left us to ourselves either, far from it. God's story is a story of never-ending love and faithfulness, and Jesus came to demonstrate that faithfulness in a way that continues today and that binds us to God and to one another. A way that carries us through when the world is less than kind. And knowing this, we can face our fears, our sorrows, our worries, our pain, and still have joy. Joy in the knowledge that the evil in this world can never have the last word, because the last word is God's. And that means the last word is a word for us. Always. Want to hear something that might sound a little crazy? I think the way to handle the scary impermanence of this life is to open your arms and embrace it. Accept that it's impermanent. Accept that we don't have control. Accept that there are endings that happen in this life. And then do two things. First, celebrate every single moment that we are given, every single day, every single chance we are given to love each other and to love this life. And then lean into the permanent one. Lean on God, knowing that God is indeed with us. The last word is God's, and that makes the last word a word for us always.